Hi, this is Amber.
And this is Lisa.
And you're listening to Unexplained Arkansas, a new podcast that explores urban legends, mysteries, and the unsolved in the natural state.
We're just two best friends discussing the unexplained in Arkansas.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. And welcome to... What is our name again? No, I'm kidding. It's okay. Hello and welcome to Unexplained Arkansas. I'll be serious. This is Amber.
And this is Lisa.
Okay.
And I'm not being serious.
Yeah. Okay. We're a little bit giggly tonight.
Mm-hmm.
It's been
It's
Friday. It is. It's Friday. It's been a long flu-filled week.
Yes,
Oh
it has.
It's been awful. My kid's sick. Lisa's been sick. Everyone I know is coming down with this flu or some COVIDs or whatever. So
did you say COVIDs?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, it's just that time of the year where everybody's feeling a little bit rough, and the weather certainly is not helping.
Nope, it's not.
It was nice today, though.
Yeah,
a little bit. It was a little bit weird. You know, it was warmer than it has been for weeks, and so it felt kind of odd, like a storm was brewing.
Yes, a storm. Is a storm brewing?
I don't know. I haven't checked radar lately, but it's Arkansas, so you know there's
I'm
always
sure
one brewing.
Yeah, I think there's
this way soon.
Yeah, you may. I don't
know. It just felt like a storm to me today. Yeah. It felt like there was a storm coming.
I think there is rain coming for sure.
Maybe that's it. You know, the older I get, the more I can feel it.
You can feel
in
the
my
rain.
Bones. Yes, I can.
This reminds me of Mean Girls. If you know, you know.
No, I can't do that yet. But in my old age, I can tell when there's rain coming.
All the ladies are like, "Oh, I know."
Okay.
Yes.
So we've had some very serious weeks in the last couple of weeks.
Yes.
There have been some very serious topics, and we haven't been able to giggle or laugh as much. And then we realized that that's what we liked the best doing when we were doing these podcasts. So we wanted to do something a little bit lighter, not something necessarily funny, but something that isn't murder, right?
Yeah. We just needed a break.
We needed a break from murder. And, you know, the way that we have our podcast situated, we do paranormal and we do unexplained cold cases. We also do, you know, things like Sasquatch and the Fouke monster. Just, what is that? Yeah, cryptozoology. Yeah. All that fun stuff that is in some relation to Arkansas or Arkansans. And so we just needed to go back to something a little lighter than murder. So we are going to be talking about UFOs and UFO sightings in Arkansas. And just to start out, I'm going to ask Lisa a question. I'm going to ask it of myself as well. But first, Lisa, do you believe in UFOs?
I really don't know. I don't know. I can't say that I don't. I mean, well, I believe in a UFO. I believe that they're unexplained flying objects that people have seen. But if you're asking me if I believe in like aliens, that's a different topic. So for me, but I can't say yes or no to that. So I don't know. I'll just say I don't know. Jury's out.
Jury's still out.
I'm thinking.
Well, I've never seen anything to prove to me that there are aliens, but I've never seen anything that disproves it either. So that's my theory. I'm kind of with you.
So many people, believe in aliens. So
it's
interesting. It's just interesting.
And I had no idea we had this many reported UFO sightings in Arkansas. And I'm going to tell you how many, but I'm going to make you guess here in a little while. So this is going to be really fun. There's some things that I know that you haven't read about. So this is going to be great. The first thing I want to do, I want to just define what a UFO is. And Lisa was right. It's any aerial object that is not identifiable to the observer. So that is what a UFO is. It's not necessarily a little green person, man, whatever. They actually became a major subject of interest during the age of rocketry, which I taught science. So that was something I studied with my kids when I was a middle school science teacher. So really after World War II, it became really a very popular thing to read about, write about, and whatnot. Now, there is another name for them that they are called now as well, but UFOs will forever be the name. But after, let's see, I'm not exactly sure when they started being called this, but unidentified anomalous phenomena. That's what they're called in government documents.
Whatever.
Generally, that term
whatever
refers
government.
Usually that term refers to objects spotted by pilots or detected by some kind of plane sensors or satellite sensors or things like that. So they call those UAPs. Now, as far as UFO, the subject of UFOs really began to take flight in 1952, and that was after Kenneth Arnold saw those flying objects, in the, where was it? Roswell, New Mexico, and the military soon claimed the object was weather balloons. So you all know that story. That's an old story. But we are going to talk about the stories that are just about Arkansas.
Okay.
And, like I said, these kinds of sightings happen all the time, and more so than you are going to believe. So first, let's talk about the first UFO sighting that has been reported in Arkansas. I want you to guess when it was. Do you have any idea?
I kind of looked a little bit.
You looked?
I told you this week. I texted you. I kind of looked at, and it was like, do you want me to say, or do you want to surprise me?
It's 1896 is when the first quote unquote airship was reported. And this is according to the Encyclopedia of Arkansas. A train conductor reported seeing an airship in the Texarkana woods. He claimed the same airship had been sighted in various others, or he claimed that it had been sighted in various other states, starting with California. So apparently there was a big old airship making its way from California to Arkansas. So that was the first reported sighting. It made the news. You can see the newspaper clips on Google. That's a pretty interesting read.
Yeah, I did read that newspaper clip.
Yeah, but it was called an airship. Then in 1897, 2 Hot Springs law enforcement officers on horseback saw a blue light in the sky, and then they rode to the light, but it disappeared. So, they just kind of forgot about it and kept on. Suddenly they saw the light again, but this time closer to the ground. So they rode to investigate it. And this is all according to the Hot Springs Centennial. They rode until their horses refused to go any further, which is so scary thinking about that. So they dismounted, drew their weapons, and they saw, quote unquote, a cigar-shaped vessel about 60 feet long. Yeah. I mean, that's not a lot of room for a spaceship. I would need more room than 60 feet.
Yeah. So they're saying it was 60 feet
long. Pretty tight quarters, I guess.
But so 60 feet? I mean,
maybe I just expect more from my spaceships. I don't know. So walking
how big
around,
do you want this spaceship to be?
I don't know. I mean, just room enough where I can have space to be by myself and not have to talk to my alien kids. I don't know.
Well, I think we need to go back to the horseback riding because I don't like magic, but I also don't like horseback riding.
I don't see how. Horseback riding's great. I did that all the time when I was a kid. It's fun.
I don't like it, and I don't like it. So there.
Well, the horses were obviously smarter than the dudes because they stopped in their tracks and wouldn't go any further. So apparently and this is a story they both told, they walked around the spaceship. They saw several men all shining lights while another filled a sack with water. I don't know what kind of sack you fill with water, but that's what they were doing. So they asked them, the men asked them why they were here. And a bearded man holding a lantern came near the policeman and told them that they were traveling through the country on an airship. The presumed pilot of the airship asked if the two lawmen would like to ride in the ship, saying that he could take us where it was not raining. Now that's creepy.
Mm-hmm.
He also said that their eventual destination was Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
So that's where they were on their way to.
That's where you would go if you were in an airship.
True, it is. That is
You're
where
always trying to go to Nashville.
Mm-hmm. I'm going spring break. I am. That is true.
Mm-hmm.
And making every weird stop on the way there or back.
Well, good.
Yeah, and they even have, and like I'm looking at these clips of these newspaper clips of the airships that the conductor and the lawman described, and they even drew it out, and there's these cute little pictures, and it looks like something that the scientists from Flubber would create in a Disney movie.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, you need to post those pictures.
I will. I'll post all those. Now, that was the first couple of times that UFOs were reported in Arkansas. But there have been other times. Let's see. There were people that reported in 1965. There were several people in the Fort Smith area. So, in 1965, there was another rash of UFO sightings nationwide. And actually, this says Viney Grove in Washington County, so a little bit away from Fort Smith. But on August 4th, 1965, a man reported seeing a flashing light in the sky. And when he went to investigate, he saw a long, narrow silver object with lighted windows and a revolving light on top, hovering in the air just above the trees. Yeah. And
that's
I guess
interesting.
That is interesting. The police came. Yes, the police came. They were unable to confirm the report, but it has long been talked about as one of the early sightings here in Arkansas.
So it kind of sounds like, what was that Flight of the Navigator? Oh, yeah. Remember Flight of the Navigator?
Yeah. We'll talk about all our favorite UFO movies. And that one, I have a core memory that has to do with Flight of the Navigator for sure. But so the same night, there were people. This was the same night that the man saw the flashing light in Viney Grove. But that same night, there were people throughout Fayetteville that reported lights in the sky. And then a few days later, two women reported seeing a strange aircraft land in a field near Blytheville. Yeah, so all in that same time period. Coincidence?
Or conspiracy.
Coincidence or conspiracy. Yeah.
It's our government.
I don't know what it is. But there wasn't really a substantial claim to another UFO sighting in Arkansas again until 1977. And that is when a U.S. Air Force medic named Terry Lovelace and a friend went on now this is from AY Magazine, by the way. This is where I got this one. I've gotten these from all sorts of sources, but this one I got from AY. A medic named Terry Lovelace and a friend went on a 2-day camping trip to Devil's Den. I have a story about Devil's Den. Okay. Oh my goodness.
I want to hear it.
Okay. So Devil's Den is right between Fort Smith and Fayetteville.
Which is like for people in the other countries that are listening, this is it's kind of the western.
It's northwestern.
Of our state, the northwest. Kind of close to Oklahoma.
Well, Devil's Den had some of our first inhabitants here in Arkansas. Like we're talking, pre-Native American, just some of the first people actually living in Arkansas lived in Devil's Den. And, there's always been ghost stories and this and that surrounding Devil's Den. But the time I was there, I got lost, and it was a severe tornadic, storm, and we had nowhere to go, and we were trapped, stranded, lightning striking everywhere, and we were on top of one of those mountains. So it was a really scary experience. I had my dog peed all over me. I mean, it was crazy, and we ended up hiding in one of those little cave
Devil's
things.
dens.
Well, no, really, that's exactly what happened. We ended up hiding under a bunch of rocks in like a little cave. And we had to sit there forever before. I mean, we were scared to death.
How long ago was this? Because
college.
Okay, that makes sense, because I'm trying to envision you hiking because
I used to hike.
Okay, if I laugh, I'm gonna cough. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But, I love how you said, I used to hike.
Yeah.
Because I love to hike, and I would, although you would not think so. But anyway, I do love to hike. And I think I asked you to go, and you're like, no.
Yeah. Well, like a couple of years ago during the pandemic, I went through a hiking phase again with one of my friends, Kristen. We went on a couple little trips and
like
with
Pinnacle.
our 40
Did
kids.
You do Pinnacle?
We didn't. We went to Hot Springs and we did that. And then we did some hiking around Heber Springs. And I do love it. It's just, it's a lot. It's a lot when you have kids. It's a lot when you're my age. So, and you haven't really.
Don't even go there.
Yeah, I know. And you haven't taken care of yourself. So. Yeah, I'm not a hiker. I mean, I'm not, but I like it. I love nature.
We're gonna whip you into shape.
Yeah, if there's one thing I'd like to try to do this summer, it's more of that. I had so much fun when we were in the cave last year. We did a little cave trip.
Yes, that was fun.
Well, I vowed that I was going to do more of that, more nature all the time, and that went over like a lead balloon, like what these people were writing in earlier. So.
Yes. And I'm going to get into pickleball, people. Pickleball.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to make you do it too.
No. What is that? What is that I always say? I would, but I don't want to.
But I don't want to.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
What was it I wanted you to come do? And you're like, I would, but I don't want to. I'm like, thanks.
It was go listen to like a choir sing or something.
Oh, yeah, at my church. I was like, this is going to be really good. And you... And you're like, yeah, no.
Well,
that's okay.
That's the same way I feel about pickleball.
Well, that's the same way I feel about Stevie Nicks.
Oh my God.
So there. Sorry.
Not one person said anything about my twirling comment in the last episode.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, I love Stevie Nicks. Maybe if I keep talking about her when she gets here, what is it, next month? They'll send me free tickets because I can't get any.
Send Amber free tickets, please, Stevie.
Yes. Please, Stevie. I've loved you for so long. So I used to sit at the piano and pretend like I'd try to play like her. Didn't work, but when I was like 16. Okay, so let's go back to the Devil's Den. It is kind of a cool place. It's kind of
creepy,
a little bit low key eerie, yes, but it's also beautiful. I have a lot of friends that like to spend time up there and hike and stay in cabins and tents. Of course, not you, but my other friends.
Maybe I'd stay in. What do you call those tents that are like? They're like always there. Like it's kind of like a hotel room,
like a yurt.
A yurt.
Stay in a yurt.
I'm not saying I would, but I would entertain the thought for a moment.
Well, don't say that because I might try to find us a yurt to stay in, especially if we go to Eureka Springs like we were planning to. We can stay in a yurt. That'd be fun.
A yurt.
Okay, so back to Devil's Den now that we have gone all over the place. So Terry and his buddy on a 2-day camping trip to Devil's Den in Washington County. They woke up to bright lights, and then they saw a 5-story craft hovering over the field. Now that's a spaceship. Forget that 60 feet. That 5-story craft. That's you want like a spaceship.
You want like a Star Wars type spaceship.
Exactly.
That's what you're envisioning.
Well, Scott and the kids think I'm like Darth Vader, so there you go. I want my own Death Star. That's exactly what I want.
You want a Death Star. So you're the father?
No, but I have heard Ryan, humming the little like Darth Vader music when I walk down the hall.
When you come. That's hilarious. Oh my goodness.
I don't know how I give off that impression to them. I mean, it's like in a house full of boys, it's like Killer Be Kill. It's like you either have to scare them or be scared, So,
that's true.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know what that's like.
It's a lot. I'll say that. Living in a house full of boys at various stages in life. I've got the toddler, the middle school child, the teenager, and then the middle-aged man. I mean, all those males in all those stages of life.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, it's a lot every day. I get no alone time unless I'm at work, and I'm not alone there either. So, but Yeah. So, all right. So Loveless said that they fled after they saw this cool 5-story spacecraft and returned to the air base in Missouri, where they discovered they had severe burns on their bodies. Now, this is interesting.
Now, that is interesting.
So nearly 40 years later, he said an x-ray of his right leg showed a foreign object the size of a $50 embedded near his knee.
Oh, my. Wow.
So what did they do? Implant something?
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, what would you do if you saw the Death Star coming down towards you in the middle of a field?
I'd probably be like, yeah, I would just want to.
You would say, number one, do you have indoor plumbing?
Yes.
Do you have valet parking?
Valet parking, indoor plumbing. No. Yeah, I don't know what I do. I'd be like freaking out. I think I envision myself like, you know, like in E.T., how their faces were just shocked, you know? Like
oh, yeah. Yeah, and you were talking about Flight of the Navigator. To me, that showed the sad side of being an alien. Because, you know, weren't they doing tests on him? Oh.
Yes.
If you've never seen Flight of the Navigator, it's about a little boy that disappears on a spaceship and then comes back when his brother's all grown and his parents are older and he's the same age.
Yeah.
And so they don't know what happened. He doesn't know what happened. He just knows he took a ride on a spaceship.
And that's it.
Yeah. And then, of course, everybody knows the story of E.T., which I love E.T. I think we talked about this on our first episode, that I love the name Gertie. I love it. But just that whole movie, you know, is a great movie. It's such a cute,
well, it's a Steven Spielberg, and he's just, I mean, he did Jaws.
Yeah, that was kind of the heyday of Steven Spielberg. And we don't have to say this to the audience that's our age and older, but younger audiences, you know, sometimes they forget just how wonderful those movies are.
They're so good. But if you haven't seen Jaws or E.T., people, like, seriously, go watch both.
I had an E.T. doll in the 80s that it was like patent leather or something.
Ew.
And I've seen them in like toy museums, and I wish I would have kept mine, but it just completely fell apart, and like the skin started literally coming off of it.
That's creepy, Amber.
Creepy.
I was just into Barbies.
Yeah. No, I had that. I had a Gizmo doll, had all of those. And
I didn't really want any dolls.
I begged for an Alf doll for my 8th birthday. And if I can remember, I will find that picture and I'll post that too. Because I wanted this special Barbie doll, and then I wanted an Alf, and I got both. Yeah. Good birthday.
Well, I liked the show Alf, but I never wanted an Alf doll.
Do you still, or have you seen it like this decade? Because if not, it's still good. I mean, it's not like one of those older shows that's just like, you know, like I tried to watch Benson a couple of weeks ago because I loved Benson, and I'm like, it just doesn't have the same, you know, vibe. And neither did Facts of Life. I tried to sit and watch Facts of Life, and
it didn't.
Not for me. But you know,
but what about Blair?
Yeah, I mean, well, of course, Blair, but but no, some shows just kind of, you know, stick and hold together even, you know, 40, 50 years later.
Like weather better.
Yeah, and I think Alf did. Alf weathered pretty good. He was hilarious, except he ate cats and you know. But you remember he always was saying he ate cats, yet never on the show did he actually eat one. He just said he did.
Just talked about it.
Yeah. Okay, so these guys in 1977, I'm sure they have more to their story somewhere. I just wasn't able to find it. They're probably still around somewhere. This was in 1977. So,
does it say how old they were then?
No, it doesn't say how old they were. They were military guys, so, you know, my guess is 20s, but who really knows? Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
If you are those people, tell us.
Okay, so now this was the one I was referring to in Fort Smith. I had them out of order in my notes. So there was actually one in 1965. So this was 6 or 7 days after the Viney Grove incident. There were over 1,500 strange sightings in Fort Smith, like unidentified flying object, you know, sightings in Fort Smith. And they figured out that it was, let's see, so investigators with Project Blue Book, designed by the U.S. Air Force to study UFO reports, traveled to Fort Smith to confirm the reports. And I guess they didn't figure out what it was because it doesn't say. So I guess they don't know. I thought they did, but no, that's still unidentified as well. Interesting. But 1,500 people saw this strange aircraft.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah. Oh, just wait till I tell you how many reports we've had lately.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Just wait.
Lately?
Yes. Like last week. Okay.
Wow.
So.
It was a full moon. Just saying.
Yeah, that's true. So another one that AY talks about is an experience somebody had in Russellville in 2014. Now, I've seen several reports in the Russellville area, and we'll talk about that too. But somebody reported seeing a platform like UFO at Arkansas Nuclear 1, and that's a 2-unit power plant over there on Lake Dardanelle. And excuse me, the craft hovered over the plant for over 2 hours, emitting different colored lights before vanishing. So it must have been a disco UFO. Yeah.
So it hovered for 2 hours?
I guess. Okay, so
that's a long time.
Here is the problem I have with that. If it was up there for 2 hours, it's 2014. Why do we not know exactly what that was?
Yeah.
I mean, there were times to get helicopters up there. I mean, that I need to find out a little bit more about that one too, because that just doesn't compute to me. I mean, maybe if they briefly saw it and then it just floated away, but if it hovered there for 2 hours with a disco ball underneath it and nobody said, or nobody really did anything to find out who was in there,
like what was going on.
Yeah.
I mean, because now we have drones and everything.
Well, we had drones in 2014 too, but I don't think that was a drone.
Saying, yeah. But I'm not saying it's a drone, but I'm saying you could get a drone to it.
Yeah, but I bet you're right. The drone thing has changed all of this UFO sighting stuff, because people will see a drone and they'll think, oh, look, a UFO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just a drone.
I don't know. Somebody's probably going to write in and say, you don't know what you're talking about. And you know what I'm going to say? That's right. I don't. I am just looking at this information and reading it out loud. Not kidding. I've been studying it. No, I told Lisa, I said, I am now a UFO specialist. I have been doing this for 2 days, and it's been really interesting. Like, I've learned a lot of things I didn't know beforehand. Like, I did not know that the National Investigations Committee on Aerial Phenomenon was a thing. So they call a UFO, like I said, an unidentified flying object, but now they call it that aerial phenomenon, whatever. But the research group was most active in the 50s through the 80s. I will say this about the 50s through the 80s. That was like space race time, and everything was about space and going to the moon, remember, in the 1960s. And then passenger voyages. That's when the Challenger explosion happened. I mean, everybody was all about space. Probably to the time our group was in about the 5th or 6th grade. Space was the thing. I remember having pictures of Sally Ride, was that her name, on the wall in the classroom, and, stopping what we're doing to watch the shuttle on TV. Those were things that don't always happen as much now.
Yeah. Now you don't hear much about space.
No.
I mean, like, I'm just trying to think of it from like our kids' perspective either. Like space, like, I don't know.
My kids have never been interested in space except for Ryan and Star Wars. And for like a brief moment in time, Star Trek, but that was very brief. Yeah.
I never got into Star Trek. I love Star Wars. But I never got into Star Trek. But my brother Jeff, he liked the Star Trek, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty neat. I've seen a few episodes. I used to watch the cartoon on Nickelodeon when we were kids. They had a cartoon version of it.
I like William Shatner, especially in his Priceline commercials. He's funny.
Yeah. Okay.
That's about it.
I want you to guess how many reports that the National UFO Reporting Center has had in Arkansas since 1974, according to the stats I just pulled.
How many?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. You said it's a lot, but like
Well,
20,000.
Oh no, that's too many. No.
Okay.
No.
10,000.
That's still too. I'm just gonna tell you, it's 1284. Okay. I thought that was a lot because there was only, let's see, like in DC they've only had 152. Delaware, 418. Oh gosh, Florida has had 8,271. Florida has had that many alien reports,
and that doesn't surprise us.
And let's see. I guess
my sister's a Floridian now, so
yeah. Does she see UFOs?
I don't know, but does that mean we can make fun of her?
I don't know.
I'm just kidding. I love you, Dee Dee.
Yeah. So 16,200 in California.
Okay.
That's
16,000. That's a lot.
Yeah, but California is a very big state.
It is big.
I don't think I screenshotted Texas on here because I'd like to know how many Texans reported a UFO. So
that is a huge state.
Well, I honestly didn't know about the National UFO Reporting Center. It was founded in 1974. It has been around for a long time. And before there was a website, there was a hotline that you could call. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
A hotline to report your UFOs. So the center...
Yeah, I did. I will say this. So we did have one of our... Remember, I think I screenshot it to you. We did have one of our listeners, and I'll just say this. So he is seen. In fact, he's been seen like lights that are unexplainable in Lone Oak between 3 and 4 a.m. I believe. And so I did send him that website because, anywho, I did find that website because he was wondering where to report that. So yes.
So throughout history, the center has processed over 170,000 reports of UFOs in our country.
Wow.
170,000. So let that sink in for a minute. And of that, 1,284 from Arkansas and various places. Because if you get on the NUFORC website, I don't know if they call it New Fork, but that's what it reads. But if you get on the website, there's this awesome map, and I put it already on the Facebook because I love maps.
Yes,
and it shows exactly.
Yes, you do.
It shows exactly where some of these more recent UFO sightings were, and there were several near us, and there were several just down the street from my house. So, yeah.
So your neighbors are reporting. Tell them, like, when you click on it, like, you can see.
You can click. Now, the red dots are the ones that are the older ones, and then the green dots are the recent ones when you get onto the map. And when you first look, you go onto the website, which I put on Facebook and Instagram both. When you go to the NUFORC site, they'll be at the top. It'll say map. You click on map, and then it'll take you to a page, a globe that has the United States right there. It's got little red and green dots all over it. And those are all the UFO sightings that have been reported now to them. Okay. So there could have been some reported to the government or whatever, but these have been the ones reported to them. Yeah. And like I said, they've processed 170,000 claims since the 1970s.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And they do. Yeah. And they do say that they try to corroborate the stories, and they do try to see if they can prove it or not or whatever. And they'll take out claims that they think are definitely bogus, definitely people just messing around. They usually can spot those, and they'll flag those and take them out. Yeah. But
so do they give like a, so let's say they corroborate it. Like, is it like on the map? Did they say that? Like, is it, you know what I'm saying?
I think they just pull it. I think like I think they just pull it off of it. So no, they can't say for sure, for sure. I think either way, but they try to at least investigate, the claims. But that's a lot of claims. I mean, I don't know if you could investigate 170,000 claims. So now, like I said, prior to 1994, so I guess 1994 is when they came out with like a website or something of that nature. But prior to that, there was a hotline, and you could also send your letter through the U.S. mail. So if you look at the map, there are lots of sightings that date back to the 60s, 70s, and 80s, because people had written letters, and they'd written letters or called about prior experiences, even all the way to the 50s. I think the 1950s, that was the earliest experience that I saw in the database, which is all public information. So that's another key piece of this too. They have all of their stuff right out there for people to look at. Now, the government, on the other hand, that's a different story, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I wanted to again go to the Arkansas piece to this puzzle, and that next piece is crop circles. And crop circles. And I always think of that one movie. What was it? Signs?
The M. Night Shyamalan?
Yes. I loved that. I remember seeing that in college, seeing it on opening night. There are so many of these amazing, awesome movies I saw on opening night, and this was one of them. And nobody knew what was going to happen. And when that alien pops out on, in the front of the birthday party kids, do you remember that part?
Yes.
That scared me to death.
Wasn't the Joaquin Phoenix?
Yes.
Okay.
That was the one where
Mel Gibson.
Yes, Mel Gibson. And he walks in, and Joaquin and the two kids have the tinfoil hats on. That was so funny. Yeah.
That's a really good movie. And it's just, if you haven't seen Signs, see it.
Yeah.
I really like most of M. Night Shyamalan's work.
See, I don't. I appreciate Sixth Sense because it is a fantastic movie. I appreciate it, but I don't watch it very often. Now, really love Signs.
It's a one and done.
Yeah, it is a one and done.
Yeah.
Now, Signs, I owned that on VHS. I used to watch that all the time.
I really liked, I will say this. I didn't like what was it? The Lady in the Water, but I liked.
Yeah, I didn't like that one either.
I
didn't understand that one.
It just wasn't good. But The Village, I like The Village, and I even like the newer one. What is it called? Old, where it's like
Scott and I started that and then stopped it. But I will tell you, I think we all now you and I went to see Lady in the Water, and then we saw The Village together. And
I like The Village.
I liked The Village, but I didn't care for the twist. I was expecting a better twist than.
I like the twist.
But I saw it coming, and I never see anything coming. So that's when I knew that it was
that you didn't like it,
because I figured it out.
Yeah. So you're like, oh, I see where this is going. I don't like it.
It's a good idea. It really is, but I could tell too fast. The monsters were too fake looking. But anyway, we won't ruin the movie.
The only thing I don't like about M. Night Shyamalan is that you can tell, except for Sixth Sense. I felt like Sixth Sense was better, but it's like, the actors are it's like them trying to be in an M. Night Shyamalan movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I know
exactly what you're talking about.
Especially like the one with Mark Wahlberg and Zooey Deschanel.
Yeah,
like that.
I haven't seen that one either.
It's okay. It was okay. The acting was just strange. So it was just strange.
Signs was amazing. I've seen it a million times. Sixth Sense was a masterpiece, but I only saw it. I've only seen it like maybe 3 times because I just don't like rewatching that.
Well, you have to see it twice because then you're like,
well, of course, yeah. I mean, I saw it the original with you, and it was me and you and Corbett. We went and saw it, and then
remember, This is on a different note. So Nate, do you know who Nate Bargatze is? The comedian.
Yeah.
So he literally has this thing about like couples, like married couples, and he's like, you're literally watching a Bruce Willis and like his wife and you're the Sixth Sense movie, and you can totally understand that the wife and husband don't talk to each other for like a whole year.
Yeah.
And that doesn't bother you.
No.
And he's talking about how husbands and wife can give each other the silent treatment
for a year. Yeah. Yeah.
And like it's just if you haven't seen that movie, go see it.
Oh yeah, please. It's good. It is really, really good. And I think that it was so good that maybe he thought he had to. I think it was like he thought he had to be that good every single movie, and then Signs was pretty good. Fell. Yeah, but the rest of them, Yeah.
Eh.
Yeah.
Eh.
Okay, so crop circles.
Okay, crop
circles. Crop circling. Yes. So the first crop
I'm not
circle.
gonna say what I was thinking.
So okay, so do you know what is a crop circle?
I mean, from what I can imagine that I thought it to be is where, like, I don't know, symbols and stuff are made in fields of crops.
Yeah. So,
especially corn.
According to Life Science, crop circles are large-scale patterns made by flattening crops such as wheat, barley, or canola. Crop circle artists is what they're called because they're human. They're not green. Okay. Yeah. They still use boards of wood to stomp out patterns. And there was a whole National Geographic documentary filmed back in 2004 to illustrate all this, probably after Signs became so popular, I would say, because Signs came out in like 2003, excuse me.
But seriously, who started the first
That happened designing? In England, the first reported one, and that was a hoax. They came out and said it was a hoax. Okay. So yeah, I do know that too in my research.
What year was it?
It was a long time ago. I want to say, oh gosh, I don't want to say wrong, but it was hundreds of years ago. So crop circles can be simple circles or more complex patterns. I've seen them do it at the pumpkin patch. So yeah,
that's so funny.
Now South England was where they all started. I think is where that was. But now artists hide their tracks in existing tractor tire ruts, making it seem as if the design dropped from the sky. And the first reported crop circle in Arkansas, I have a picture of it, and it's like a circle, and then it has 3 smaller circles around it, and then some smaller circles on the other side of the medium circles. So it's just circles all together in like a little sign. So the very first crop circle was discovered in June of 2003 in a wheat field in Clay County. And it consisted of a series of 10 circles. And that's the picture here. One large circle, and that was about 31 feet in diameter, with 9 decreasing in size, spiraling away like 3 arms. So yeah, pretty creative. Yeah.
But will you post that?
Yeah, I will post that. But the farmer harvested the wheat before researchers had a chance to investigate the formation.
Oh no!
Hey, farmers got a farm, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
People got to eat.
But there were people from Cambridge, Massachusetts, from a research facility that did come and visit the site, and they did report. Now, this is according to my source. They did report a high concentration of magnetic material in the soil.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they didn't say whether it was human created or not, or
not according to this. So, and then in 2004, there was a pinwheel formation with 7 arms that was reported, also in Clay County, but this was in a peach orchard. Wait, no. It was in the town peach orchard, I think. And it was in a wheat field, not a peach orchard. The town is Peach Orchard. What? That's a nice sounding town. Okay, so it measured approximately 166 feet in diameter and was situated near the center of a 40-acre field. Then there was a third. On June the 14th, 2007, there was another crop circle, and this one was in
Clay County.
No, this one was in Greene County, and I don't know how to say the name of this town, but it's Delaplane. This formation consisted of 3 interlocking circles placed inside a larger circle. Yeah. And I couldn't find pictures of the other 2, only the one, because somebody posted it on a news station. Though it appeared...
You know, it'd be really cool. Like, you know how when they shave, things into people's heads?
Yeah.
Like, so they could, like, like Air Jordan, like Michael Jordan, it'd be funny if, like, that was what a farmer... came out.
Okay.
In their field.
So this last one in Greene County, though it appeared to be rougher than the other 2, it was apparently unfinished. It had also reportedly featured characteristics common to the other 2, such as interwoven blades of wheat that speak to a high level of sophistication. Yes. Now,
but it was unfinished.
It was unfinished.
So if it wasn't human made, they were just...
Well, let me tell you the most eerie part of this. The most eerie part is that the 3 circles discovered so far in Arkansas, these 3 crop circles form a trail going from northeast to southwest Arkansas. Yeah, and all these years later, no one has ever claimed responsibility for these crop circles. We still don't know who did it.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty interesting.
But very interesting.
Yeah, but like I said, crop circles have been a thing for a long time. And the first crop circles were in, southern England area, and the first one that made all the news was a hoax, and they came out and said it was a hoax. So okay, that's my crop circles stories. So now what I wanted to talk about a little bit, I want to go back to the Arkansas UFOs, but I did want to kind of show you some more evidence that there could possibly be, because I know you're kind of sitting on the fence like I am. All right, so think back to last summer, June 2023.
Okay.
Yeah, the United States Air Force officer, a United States Air Force officer and former intelligence official, and I don't know if I am saying his name right, but David Grush testified in a U.S. House of in the U.S. House of Representatives. He claimed that he had conversations with quote unquote unnamed officials that led him to believe that the U.S. federal government still maintains UFO, or now, like I said, we call them UAP, recovery programs, and is in the possession of non-human, they say one non-human spacecraft, along with the spacecraft's dead pilot. I remember when it happened, because people were watching it online, and there were, and half the people watching it were going, "I told you so, I told you so, ET phone home," and then the other half was like, "Yeah, right." So in 2022, so the year before, he had, and this is Grush had filed a whistleblower complaint with the U.S. Office of the Intelligence Community Inspector General. He then shared classified information with the U.S. Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, and he also claimed retaliation for sharing his information.
Ooh.
Yeah. Now it keeps going. He also said he viewed documents that reported that Benito Mussolini's government had recovered a non-human spacecraft. Yep, in 1933. Which the Vatican and the Five Eyes assisted the U.S. in procuring in 1944 and 1945. So, now what is the Five Eyes? Should I know what that is?
I don't.
The Vatican and the Five Eyes.
The Five Eyes?
Yeah, Google that for me, because I didn't Google
Five
that.
Eyes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Grush claimed secondhand knowledge that American citizens have been harmed and killed as part of the government's efforts to cover up the information. And then, so this was his first set of claims. In July 2023, Grush doubled down and made more claims under oath to the House Committee on Oversight and Accountability. And a retired fighter pilot and a Navy commander also shared their personal experiences related to UFOs. So that, so he had people with him that time. And then Senator Lindsey Graham said, and I quote, "If we'd really found this stuff, there's no way you could keep it from coming out." So, quote unquote, Lindsey Graham. So then,
I do have this.
Okay.
So, sorry. The Five Eyes, which is FVEE, is an Anglosphere Intelligence Alliance comprising of Australia, Canada, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, and the United States.
Oh, neat.
So it's our five
eyes
intelligence alliance.
Yeah.
So it's I guess it's like our eyes in the sky type thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I learned something new every time we do this.
I know, like it says these countries are parties to the multilateral UK-USA agreement, a treaty for joint cooperation in signals intelligence. So we came together, to kind of have an agreement on what we could share the information on what we found.
Right.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, it is. And maybe I should have led with that, because at first I could see your eyes glazing over with boredom. I should have led with that one. There's still time. I can swap it in editing. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
Yeah. So after all that hullabaloo,
Okay.
Their hullabaloo. Yes.
What? Hullabaloo.
I don't know. My grandma said that. All right. So then came the UAP 7 Disclosure Act of 2023. Now, do you know what that is?
No.
That is, and I quote, Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena Disclosure Act of 2023. So we actually have that on our books. And I got it, and I'm reading you exactly what is in our federal government's books now. Okay, so Congress finds and declares the following. Number 1, all federal government records related to unidentified anomalous phenomena, I wish they would have something easier to say, should be preserved and centralized for historical and federal government purposes. So that's number 1. Number 2, all federal government records concerning unidentified anomalous phenomena should carry a presumption of immediate disclosure, and all records should be eventually disclosed to enable the public to become fully informed about the history of the federal government's knowledge and involvement surrounding unidentified anomalous phenomena. So that sounds really good. And it was like a bipartisan legislation, and Chuck Schumer was in on this. And so they hope to have a process that was a little more transparent so the public would not think that the government is keeping secrets about non-human intelligences on Earth. And it was co-sponsored by 2 Democrats and 3 Republicans. So how's that for bipartisanship? Maybe everything should be about aliens. So
looks like the only thing we can agree on.
But they did change the bill a little bit before it passed. So under the bill that was actually passed, the National Archives will be able to gather this information about technologies of unknown origins and non-human intelligence. But this is the big if a future president determined that the public release of these records would pose a threat to the U.S. intelligence operations and military defense, declassification could be postponed under the language of this new bill.
Okay. Does it get... So my question is, because I'm more in my own thinking, I'm very curious about like the past, you know?
Right. Me too.
Well,
like Roswell.
What I'm thinking, yes, like Roswell. Like, so does it give like a time frame that these documents?
I don't know. When I was researching, I saw like 25 years, but that has come and gone since Roswell.
Yeah,
I don't know, but I guess according to the language in the bill, if the president still sees harm in releasing these records, then they're not going to be released. So if the potential harm of releasing them outweighs the public interest, then they're not going to be released.
Yeah.
Right now.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. And all this this came about after the quote unquote whistleblower.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. So I thought that was a pretty interesting.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was a very interesting thing. Something that, I mean, I knew that they had the UFO meetings last summer. I didn't pay a lot of attention to it. And I know that the internet got a kick out of it, and people were, and people were just going crazy, about it. But
what was I doing in June?
I don't know. We went to the zoo.
I was busy. We went to the zoo?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. It was fun. And then we went, what else did I was in Orlando, remember?
Oh, yeah.
I was busy.
Yeah.
It felt like all of June.
Yeah.
And then I was busy in July, riding a train for 36 hours.
Oh, that's right. Yes. I forgot about that experience.
That's for another day, another time.
Yeah. But, okay, so while you were Cary Grant on the train, they were having the UFO meetings in Washington.
Oh, so, my goodness.
So there you go. I mean, so there are people that really, really believe this very strongly. And there are people in Arkansas that really believe this. There are people in my house that believe this. I just don't know what I believe. I just don't know what I believe. So.
I feel like I need to see these archives.
Yeah.
They need to release them specifically.
There is a lot of things you can get, like old FBI files on things that I didn't really want to sift through all of them. I didn't really have time, and they had nothing to do with Arkansas. It was just trying, it was just about UFOs in general. But there are things, old records and letters and things that you can get. Who was it? Maybe it was Gerald Ford that they bothered with this all the time. He was in the White
Gerald
House.
Ford.
Yeah. Okay. So here in Arkansas, we have what is called the Ozark Mountain UFO Conference, which takes place each year if you didn't know, the second weekend of April at the Inn of the Ozarks Conference Center in Eureka Springs, which is in Carroll County. And I love Eureka Springs, and I really want to go soon. We might just need to go just see what it's all about. They said they usually have about 700 people, and they hear national and international.
700 people?
700 people go to Eureka Springs for the UFO conference. I think we need to go. Have a little table with like some stickers, that say Unexplained Arkansas, and some keychains.
And some keychains. Yeah. I'm not doing that. I'll go. We're not doing keychains.
Well, okay. We'll discuss. We'll discuss it.
Yes.
Okay. So
I love you though.
Yes. But so 700 people, that's worth going. I want to go. So if you're listening, Ozark Mountain UFO Conference people, we want to come. Send us an invite. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Okay, so it's typically a 3-day conference, and it begins on 1 p.m. They're very specific about this. It begins on 1 p.m. on Friday, and it ends at noon on Sunday. Now, that sounds like good conference hours to me. Featuring between 9 and 12 speakers, a speaker panel discussion, and the showing of documentary films. That does sound really cool. Yeah.
That does sound really, that does actually sound right up my alley for some reason.
Yeah. I say we go.
Is concerning.
And then when we're there, we just go do a ghost tour of
Crescent. Have to go to the Crescent.
Yeah. And then we just, two birds with one stone, man. So I have a friend named Marley, and she said the other day that we needed to go to the Crescent and do the tour and all that. So yeah, we need to do that.
I've done it a couple times.
Well, yeah, I have too, but like with the podcast, like this is a whole other angle.
That's true. We haven't done it together.
Yeah.
So, and if we, it's just so fun.
It is.
That would be fun.
It is very fun.
And then this UFO thing does sound fun.
I know. I told you. It sounds amazing. Okay. So back to,
not because I believe in aliens. I'm just going to be clear.
Well,
I don't not believe, but I don't believe. I don't know. I need to see an alien. So there.
I don't know if I want to see one. I don't know if I want to see one.
Oh, I do.
Oh my gosh.
If it exists, I want to see it.
Okay, so like I said, with the New Fork, and that's probably not what they call themselves as New Fork. It's
New Fork.
But I don't see you just saying
instead of Old Fork.
Yeah, instead of Old Fork, it's New Fork. But it's NUFO or
Spork.
Yeah, or New Spork. Yeah, but I don't see them just saying NUFORC every time they talk about themselves. So I'm just gonna call them New Fork because it's fun. So
New Fork. Yeah.
So it receives, records, collaborates, documents, reports all over the place, but especially in Arkansas, not especially, but also in Arkansas from 1974 to from 1974 to 2023, the group has recorded 170,000 files. And so we're going to look at a few here, the remaining time, we're going to look at a few of these reports. And in 2023, which was last year, there were 25 reports. So, not
25 reports.
Yeah, not a lot.
Wow. Of UFOs or
unexplained phenomenon. There were 25 reports. There were 237 in California, just for to compare. There were 237 in California and 170 in Florida and 98 in Texas. So I don't know why I keep adding Florida. I just want to see what Florida's up to all the time. So after I look at Arkansas, then I just automatically look at Florida. Okay, so if you get onto the New Fork website, it will take you to the maps page, which I already discussed. But then when you get to the maps page, you'll see the green dots and the red dots. The red dots are the older ones. The green dots are the newer ones. And for instance, there was, let's see, 25. There has been. Let's see what we want to look at first here. We'll go to Cabot because we live near Cabot.
And Cabot is a little bit north of Little Rock, people.
Yes, there have been 12 reported sightings of UFOs in Cabot since New Fork started. Since it started. But in the last year, there has only been. Actually, there hasn't been one since 2020. So I guess they're leaving Cabot alone. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. And
I was concerned.
You were concerned for Cabot?
for Cabot.
Well, be concerned for Ward because their last report was in 2023. March the 26th, it looks like. There were 7 reported sightings. Now, these are using the same coordinates. Let me just say that.
Okay.
So there are other reports, but these are in the same spot, in the same general area.
Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. So they, in all the different reports, they it's different shapes, different colors, different sizes, but everybody,
so different sightings.
Yeah, different in the sightings, different years, all of that. Very rarely is it something where everybody's reporting it at the same time. That's what I found anyway. Like, for instance, I pulled some of this, but I won't read all of it to you. But somebody put, my mother was in the backyard watching the dogs and noticed a heat shimmer in the sky out of the corner of her eye. She turned and looked at the object. She sat and watched it for 10 minutes as the object darted around the sky in an erratic manner. So these are some of, this is what you'll see in these reports. I mean, you get the full report that people made. And it's pretty neat. I sat and read them for like 2 hours last night. So in the coordinates, the nearest to me that there had been sightings in Searcy, there have been 9 reported sightings. So it's over here by BB Caps is where it is.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the latest report there has been 2022. So
what was it? Tell me.
So I don't know if I believe this one. I mean, maybe not, but it was July 6th. 2022. Okay. What goes on July 6th? Everybody's leftover fireworks.
A lot of fireworks.
Yeah. So they were following a small plane in the sky when they noticed an object. That was the last one. And then there was also another one in 2022, that same area. And this was June the 2nd. Sky was clear. We were looking through our binoculars, debating on setting up the telescope when we saw it. And that's all I screen captured there. So so there was a total in that location, those coordinates, there were 9. So very interesting. So then we get to the really fun part. Dover, which I've had a lot of people call in, message in about the Dover lights, right?
Yes.
Now, I was expecting there to be a gazillion of these in Dover, but actually there's only 6, like at one time. That's as many as there are in one coordinate spot. There's only 6.
Okay.
And then, but the last one there was in 2023 as well. And this one was a large string of bright lights in a chevron formation. Man, I hope chevron never comes back in style. I did not like the chevron face.
You know what? I don't either.
That was not
I'm not a chevron fan.
Yeah, but there's
no. I was just thinking about any, like, not even just definitely not to wear, but like even like just. I guess maybe for kids' room stuff, it's okay, but just no.
Yeah, well, maybe these aliens were trying to bring the chevron back. So if you go if you go down the road just a little bit, there have been 34 reported sightings in Russellville at a certain set of coordinates. 34 sightings,
and that's kind of where we have the nuclear power plant or near.
Correct? In that area, and Coincidence?
I think not.
I don't know. Yeah, but there's a lot. So if you're in the Russellville area, it's worth a look to see how many reports there are. And then when you go even further south to Conway, there are 34 reports in Conway. Yeah, so lots of reports in that area. One of the most interesting reports was one from Conway, and this happened in 1965, and it was reported in 1997. So someone reported at a drive-in during the summer. My brother and I saw 3 lights above and to the right of the screen. They were looking up at the drive-in screen. The movie was Cat Ballou. And I did look it up, and I got a poster because I wanted to know what Cat Ballou was. So they were at the drive-in watching Cat Ballou. We observed.
Yeah, I want to know too.
We observed them for approximately 20 minutes while one of them flew figure 8s around the other 2. Then one of the other lights would switch positions with the moving light and fly the same figure 8 pattern. Suddenly, 2 of the lights took off with great velocity and disappeared. The other light stayed in its original position. Approximately 1 hour later, a light came speeding back and started circling the stationary light, then took a position next to it and stopped. That is interesting. That is very interesting.
Okay, so I'm sorry, but like all I can think about is wanting to know what this Cat Blue is.
Okay, so Cat Blue, I knew that we weren't going to get very far with the actual sighting.
Sorry.
Yeah, so Cat Blue was a Western, and it was...
Or you say Baloo?
I don't know.
Like
it was Baloo, B-L-L-O-U,
Baloo?
Cat Baloo, but it was starring Jane Fonda. So it was Jane Fonda in a Western, is what that was. So they were watching Jane Fonda in a Western, and there was an alien, a bunch of aliens, the corner of their screen, I guess, having some kind of flying practice.
Watching Jane Fonda.
I guess they were all wanting to watch Jane Fonda.
She's still kicking and around and making lots of movies.
I know, she looks great.
She's like, like, oh, I looked that up. She's like 87 or something.
She's up there. But okay, so that's the only time Jane Fonda comes up in this story, okay? But the point is there has been several sightings, whether you believe them or not, they have been reported to this national agency for UFOs. Now, they do allow anonymous posting. And so what's to say someone doesn't just, report 15 fake alien sightings or something like that? I mean, there's really no way to know. I mean, they say they vet them and they try as best they can to corroborate, or how do you say that word? Corroborate the stories.
Corroborate.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, they can't prove it. No one's been able to completely, totally prove life on other planets, or life coming down and seeing us from a big Death Star spaceship. So there you go. I mean, and that is all I could dig up as far as Arkansas's connection to UFOs.
But that's a lot. I mean, that feels like a lot.
It was a lot, and I feel like it went in different places, but it was more than I knew before. And it makes me more interested, actually, in these unexplained UFO sightings. And, of course, the crop
I'm sorry,
circles.
I dismiss... Yeah. Well, and maybe I'll change my mind and go to this UFO or whatever thing
the conference
in Eureka Springs.
Yeah, I would like to. I would really like to do it. I think it would be fun.
I mean, it sounds fun.
Yeah.
Sounds like a good time.
I mean, one thing that I have...
It sounds funny.
It does.
Too.
But one thing that I have learned is to just, never say never, especially with things that are still unexplained. You can't explain them away. You can't say yay or nay, Never say never. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. So I guess that's my...
There we go.
That's my final. That's my final answer.
Final thought.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I am very intrigued by this Cat Baloo or whatever.
Is that what you're going to watch when we get off the podcast?
Yeah. Maybe. Maybe. I doubt it.
Yeah.
No, I've been really liking this... it's a show that I found on Max, like HBO, and I want to say it's like Love and Betrayal or something, and it talks about these people that just sorry, this is off topic, but it talks about these people that went through just this huge, betrayal from their, like a loved one, like their spouse or whatever, and then it goes through the whole thing. And one of the stories was the woman. Do you remember the story about he was like a surgical dentist, and then he got into, he was harvesting bodies and stealing bodies. Remember? This was I want to say this was in New York.
Yeah, vaguely I do remember that.
And he got busted, and he had stolen, he basically corroborated.
That's a hard word to say.
It is very hard to say. He corroborated with this funeral home and basically was stealing these people's families' tissues,
and
so
not
telling them.
He's like a present-day grave robber. Wow.
Yes, and it was it was a lot, like thousands, and then he was also lying on death certificates because they were giving these tissues to people to help them, like regenerative tissues.
Right.
And so sometimes these people would die of cancer but he would doctor the death certificate. So anyway, it's just a really good show.
Wow, that does sound interesting.
It was very interesting. I've been sick, so Daryl made me sleep in the guest room, and then I found this show.
Yeah.
So, true story.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, before we finish up, will you tell them all the many countries now?
You want me to go through all the countries?
I'm so excited about all this.
Okie dokie,
guys. I'm so excited.
Let me look here.
And
it's always so funny. I'm like, oh my goodness, I cannot wait to tell Lisa that somebody is probably backpacking through Europe and just for fun opening up our podcast in every spot just so Lisa can get excited.
I'm just like, yay!
Okay. So here's who we have. Canada, Poland,
yes,
Finland, Australia, Germany, Italy, Thailand, Switzerland, Norway, Slovakia, and the United Kingdom. So
that's 11.
That's 11. So no New Zealand yet. So we don't have the Five Eyes watching us.
Oh, we don't. But we have most of them.
We have most of the Five Eyes watching
the UK,
us. Yeah.
That's awesome. We need the fifth.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. And who knows who they are. But hey, we'd love to hear from you. Review us.
Please reach out to us. And our ratings are continually going up. So that is how you can support us. So rate us,
because people are asking how they can support us, and we're not going to, what is that, Patreon, or
we're not going to do a Patreon,
we're not gonna do any
or
of that.
A subscription to make any way that just
we
seems.
Have jobs. Well, I have a job.
Hey, I subbed today.
I know you did.
I literally sub 4 times next week. I'm like, that is almost full time.
It really is. When you said, "Oh, I'm going to sub a little bit," I was like, "No, you're not. You're going to be called all the time." So,
well, it's funny, because and then I'm like, yes, I'll go. I mean, I feel bad because I feel like they need people.
They really do.
Like,
I mean, all schools need subs. I mean, that's just something.
And it's high school. I'm at the high school.
Yeah,
it's really.
And you get to watch my son for me if he acts up.
I did. Yeah. I did in the hall. He ignored me in the hall the other day.
He did.
By the way,
he loves you. He loves you more than me.
That is true. Sometimes he comes and he'll come talk to me, and then he'll make fun of you.
Yeah, well, whatever.
I'm like, Bo.
Yeah.
I'm like, be nice to your mom.
Okay, well, that's a good segue to talking about people who actually like us. So, all right. So I wanted to read a couple of these before we hop off here.
Yes.
So here are some of our reviews.
Read them.
This is from Comic Book Hooper. And this is 5 stars. Incredible Arkansas creators. Amber and Lisa are exactly what we need in the podcasting space. I love listening to true crime, and we'll be listening every week. And then we have one from Pookie's mom. It's not mom, it's mum, M-U-M. And it says, love the pod, 5 stars. The stories are great. Some I have heard and some I have never heard. The hosts are genuine and funny and tell the stories well. They're getting me through this dreary central Arkansas winter. Now, isn't that the truth? Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I live in...
These people are precious.
Yes, I live in the same county, so I really enjoy learning things that I didn't know about so close to home. All right, so then we have Pretzel Day, and that is another 5-star. Good job. And Pretzel Day says, love the podcast so far. Every episode I have listened to has made me feel better through times. Keep up the good work. That is so, we love you. Thank you, Pretzel Day. We love you, Pretzel Day. That is so sweet.
That is, you know what the best pretzel situation is?
What?
It's those little at Auntie Anne's when you get the little pretzel.
Is it Auntie Anne's? Is that what it's called?
Auntie Anne?
Yes, I don't know. It's Auntie something.
Auntie something.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Those little pretzel
I don't
pellets.
Eat enough pretzels. I mean, that's a true statement. I rarely have a pretzel. I mean, I don't go very many places where there are pretzels being served.
Me neither.
And
you don't. You really don't, because you don't get out.
I don't.
I go to a lot
I have
more
3
ball
kids.
games and
I'm
such.
like, I can't get out.
No, it's not the 3. It's the newest one.
It's the newest one.
And it might that's you
dropping Doritos down my shirt. Usually every time we talk. No, I'm kidding. Okay.
He's normally yelling
That's true.
on the pod.
Yes. Okay, so then we have Okay, so it's BLCHKG. I don't think that's Belch King, but
Belch King?
I mean,
love it.
No, I mean maybe, but maybe it's just BLCHKG. Maybe I'm missing something, but it's a cool name either way.
Okay.
So it's 5 stars and love, and they say Amber and Lisa are great and so much fun to listen to. As a lifelong Arkansan, I have heard of each of these stories and have actually visited most of the towns involved. Very cool podcast. Keep up the phenomenal work, ladies. 2 thumbs up.
Oh,
Awesome.
Oh, 2 thumbs up to you.
Yes, 2 thumbs
These
up.
people are so and so we really love it when you rate us. And
yes. Oh, well, I saved my favorite one for last. Yeah. And
I want to hear.
This one, okay, and this is so crazy, but this one was posted on the day that was supposed to be our first episode. We were supposed to start January 14th, but we ended up starting like a month before because we were so excited.
We did.
And we are both really hard workers by nature. So we started churning out these podcasts at a crazy rate. Like I went back to work and everybody's like, wait, you have 7 podcasts done? I'm like, yes, and probably could get 7 more really quickly because because they're
we
fun.
Still have so many ideas.
We do.
They are fun.
So this is from Erin, and Erin says 5 stars and entertaining, and she says nice girlfriend slumber party type vibe. Very entertaining podcast. Keep it up, ladies. Thanks for repping Arkansas with a little smiley face with sunglasses. So that was really sweet.
Awesome.
I love that because I love the slumber party thing. You know, remember how much I loved slumber party. Yeah, I mean, we like, well, me, you, Sherry, Courtney, all the time. We were always having slumber parties
all the time.
And Sherry had put something on her Facebook, a picture of us from 25 years ago. And our other friend Tara was like, you know, they were always full of adventure, and we really were. We were, I mean, one might say immature, but we were adventurous.
We were fun. We were fun.
I mean, we weren't.
I think we still are.
We still
immature.
are. Yeah. No, we just
and fun.
We just knew there was plenty of time to grow up, and we had lots of fun, and we loved to laugh, and we loved to just, you know, just go places, do things, and still do.
Cemeteries.
Yeah, still do.
UFO conventions.
Exactly. We'll drag Sherry to that one too.
Okay. Yeah, tell her she has to do that if she wants to go to the Crescent.
If she wants to go to the Crescent, we'll just have a slumber party night. So
slumber party.
Yeah, but I love it. That's so cool. So keep those coming because we love our listeners and followers.
Thank you.
And it's gotten to the point I talk to at least one every day. Somebody messages me too. About something, and then we start on a conversation. I've met some really cool people.
Like people. Well, you said all of your work, are awesome to listen, and then like everywhere I'm at, everybody's asking me about the pod for sure.
Yeah, and we actually will be speaking our first speaking engagement, which I hope is the start of maybe a library tour. That? We could do like an Arkansas library tour. Like
I love libraries.
I do too, but think about it. It could be like our library tour era, like Taylor Swift, but we could just go to all the libraries and give talks. But
and glittering costumes.
Exactly. I love some glitter and some crowns. Yeah. So but no, for real, we are doing a speaking engagement, and we will be talking about how to start a podcast from nothing, which is what we did. And we will also talk about some of our favorite cases that we've covered so far. And this is at the Abington Library, the second week of February. I think it's that Tuesday. So I don't have a calendar in front of me, which I shouldn't have started talking about it. So,
what day is that?
I don't know, but it's
like the 12th or the 16th, right?
So I think it's the 13th or something like that. But we will put the exact date. Yeah. We will put the exact date and the time and all that.
We'll put it everywhere.
We'll put it everywhere. Yeah, because we're pretty good about talking about that kind of stuff on Facebook.
If you're in the Central Arkansas area, you should come. Yeah. Take your lunch.
And we love to go and do fun stuff, and we'll come to you. I mean, we're cheap. We're cheap dates. No,
we're cheap dates. Maybe you.
No, I am a cheap date. Remember, I used to always have people take me to the Sizzler, to Western Sizzling, or to Ryan's.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe that's why I named my son Ryan, because I went to Ryan's buffet all the time. You hated that, and I don't know why.
Because it's disgusting.
No, it wasn't. I was so sad when they tore it down.
Oh.
I don't even know if there's still Ryan's somewhere. There's still Western
not.
Sizzling, and I love that place. Yeah.
I mean, Western Sizzling, I mean, I can order from like the menu.
Yeah, no, I love a chopped. Okay, here's my Western Sizzling order: a chopped steak, baked potato with sour cream and butter, and then a salad, a humongous salad, and that is like the best. Like when I was pregnant, I begged Scott to take me to the Western Sizzling like every week, and he's like, "Are you sure? Is this 1993?" Sure? And I'm like, "No, I wanted to go there in the Olive Garden. I wanted to go to all these places that I loved when I was a kid."
You should have said it's always 1993
in my head. Heart. Well, no, in my head, it's always 1993. Yeah. You've seen my collection of 90s nostalgia.
Oh my goodness.
I have an entire collection of vintage R.L. Stine I would say Fear Street books.
Oh, I loved R.L. Stine.
Fear and
Christopher Pike.
I think it's because I loved Fear Street so much that I do what I do now, because that just that awoke something in me. Yeah, I did.
Did it?
It did. I just remember that was the first book that like I didn't feel like I was being made to read, like Caddy Woodlawn. I mean, no offense, Caddy, but like I didn't want to read Caddy Woodlawn or Little House on the Prairie or any of those. I was into straight up Fear Street, and then when I got a little older, V.C. Andrews, which that's a little spicy.
Spicy.
Oh no, the word is tawdry. Tawdry set of books right there. Yeah.
V.C. Andrews, those were great.
They
books,
were dark
though.
and tawdry and a little bit ew.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, so I mean, when
incest.
When I started getting embarrassed, having my Fear Street books, looking at my Fear Street books, or people looking at my Fear Street books, then I switched over to V.C. Andrews, and people didn't look at me as strange because, yeah,
you had a grown-up.
I had a grown-up book, about incest. I just wonder if our librarians even knew what those were about.
They're like, these kids just like that V.C.
They do. I mean, remember the covers were always torn up because people could not wait to read those books. Yeah,
they were good. They really were excellent.
Yeah, I have never watched the miniseries that are on Lifetime. I just can't bring myself to do that because the books were so amazing. I just don't want to.
I refuse.
Yeah, and Heather Graham's in one of them, and then.
Ew.
But hey, one of them has.
No offense to Heather Graham,
but yeah, she's not somebody that I like to like. If Reese was in it, I might see it. So.
If it was a Reese Witherspoon, but she wouldn't be in a Lifetime movie.
I don't know. Maybe someday. You never know.
Maybe someday.
Yeah, you never know.
I don't know. You never know. I guess.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's probably where our love of all things unusual came from. So I don't know. That's just one of my theories. So, maybe,
or maybe it's that weird.
Strange and unusual, like Lydia from Beetlejuice,
and unexplained.
We're unexplainable Arkansans. We are. Yeah. Okay. Well, on that note, I think we're going to stop it because we've ran long tonight. Wow, I've never ran long before, so this is my first time.
You've not.
Yeah.
And you always give me the eyeballs.
And you're like,
not. And you wave your fingers at me that show the time.
I'm stretching. I'm stretching my fingers in like a jazz hands position.
Jazz hands. Mm-hmm. And you do stuff like type and Google and
whatever.
True story.
Whatever. Well, you've been very patient and kind and a role model for me. And I will try to be more like you on the podcast to come.
Now that was sarcasm. I love you.
Okay, well that's it. I'm getting off of this podcast and going to finish watching my movie that I'm watching. So.
Okay. Well, tell them to follow us, rate us,
and rate, and
share,
follow, rate.
And email us.
Yes,
and reach out.
We love to talk to you. Okay. We do. We really, really do. Probably more than you think.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's fun.
It's like a bunch of
friends.
Fun
at a slumber party. Yeah.
At a slumber party. Yeah.
Okay. We don't want to have one. Okay. So we're not putting that out there, but we do like to talk to you guys because y'all come up with some funny stories. So
yes.
All right. Well, that's it. That's all we have. So y'all stay safe and stay curious. All right. Bye.
Love ya.